Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Good morning if you're on the other side of the world, like where I am. We'll just give it one more minute for people to join, and then we'll get going. So today's webinar is about managing welders. So that is creating a welder record in WeldTrace and adding bring your own welder qualifications, also creating welder qualifications from bring your own welding procedures as well as welding procedures created in WeldTrace. If you have any questions, please send, I think there is a chat message or raise a hand or something like that, and I'll try and answer that. And we'll have a question and answer session right at the end of the webinar anyway. All right, so I hope you can hear me and hope you can see my screen. So I've logged in as the super user of a trial account, and you can do what I'm going to show you as an account administrator, as well as if you're given rights to the personnel menu. Okay, so that's where welders and fitters or boilermakers and welder qualifications are added. It will be helpful if you have access to the WPS and PQR menus as well, if you're creating welding procedures and welder qualification records. So the first step, I'm in the personnel and welders submenu. So let me create a welder or add a welder here. And so the welder ID is PC, some made up name, and the stamp number. I'll choose an image from the computer. You can also select an avatar. So once a picture is loaded, you can use the mouse scroll wheel to scroll in and out, and then, or you can just move this aperture and click upload. Now, that's all I need to do here, unless I need to give login access, and that's only available in the Pro plan. So welders can use the mobile app and claim welds for that purpose, so you can give access, and they can also see their own qualifications in the WeldTrace app. So if I have to do this, I have to give an email address. And you can change the division if you have, many divisions, and then click on allow login. So it says the user with this email address exists probably in another account when I was testing. So just change it. Then login. So you'll have to enter a password. Okay, you can see the password, what I entered. If you click on this button, and then if you slide this button, then an email with the login details will be sent to that email address. So I'll say. So I've got this welder created, and so there's no records. So this interface has recently changed. So to add welder qualifications, you need to click on this button here, and you are able to enter more range qualified values this way. Previously, we didn't have that functionality for bring your own welder qualification. So that's the change. So I'll pick a WPS, and the WPS listed here are only bring your own WPS. So the WPS created in WeldTrace won't be listed here. So if you need to create a welder qualification for a WPS created in WeldTrace, then you will have to use the create workflow, which I'll go through later in the session. The WPQ number is a required field. just enter some number and the revision and the test date, let's say 1st of March, and the report number is optional. By the way, you cannot change some of the fields and other fields can be edited. So these records, they are from that WPS. So you cannot change the process for root fill and cap or the types, and the standard or the units cannot be changed. But there are other things like the join type, product form, position. If you want to restrict the welder from accessing all positions for that. And then, like, if the WPS didn't have that record, you can add that here. And you can also make the thickness range a bit tighter or more relaxed, depending on what you're allowing the welder to do. Next up, just add or upload a WPQ. Okay, so once it's uploaded, you have the save button enabled. Okay, now fill Capowich has one qualification and it has two different processes and they are both current. So if you wait to look at the continuity report, so you have SMAW manual and GMAW semi-automatic, and they both are from the WPS 101, and the test date is given as March 1st. So until the welder is used in a project, so these records, these entries will be blank, so they'll be only here. Okay, so now going back to the welders, so that's adding one welder at a time. And there's the other method of importing records from through a CSV file to create multiple welders and welder qualifications in the same step. So click on that import CSV button. You can download a template and fill in the records. So I have here. Okay, so this is something I've filled in. The template you will get will be blank except for the first row. So what you cannot do is rearrange these columns, or you cannot rename the column heading in the first row. Right? Anything else can be given in. So obviously the welder ID, the name, so these are quite self-explanatory. You need to enter the WPS qualified and the revision, and then you have to give a WPQ or WQTR number and revision. And the report number is optional, and the test date has to be entered. Then these values here are optional. But if you're entering data here, so like joint type and product form, position, and all that, then the values that are entered here, they need to be compliant to the code, and we have some validation rules. So if you go into the Help Center and the welders section, go into Add Welders. So this is what I was showing you previously, adding a welder. If you scroll down here, so we have the import welders list. So this is where I am currently. And you can look at the tables here. So for ASME 9, what are the acceptable values? For joint type, product form, position, they're all here. So all you need to do is just copy these values and then paste it in the cell exactly as it is. And the values, the text is also case sensitive. So for AWS, so these are the values. So 15.614 and API 1104. So we've got them for 4 standards. And if you're bringing in any other standard into WeldTrace, so the welder is qualified to, let's say, ASNZS standards or some other European standard, you can use any of these values. So if, for example, P number or group number, it can be from this table or this or here or there. But you can't bring in something else altogether. So WeldTrace wouldn't know what to do. Now, if I upload the file, so let me pick one with errors. So if you made any mistakes, it won't let you add those records. For example, here, there's no such thing as a Southern Division, or there's no contractors. So these are created under the organization, so where you can add customers, contractors, and divisions. And then WPS number. So these WPS don't exist in this account. And again, there are some typos or date format errors and validation rules are applied. So you can see clearly, and you can make those changes in your Excel or CSV template and then re-upload. So I'll upload another file which has got clean records. Okay, so there are no red highlighted cells, so I'll just create. Okay, so the welders are created. Now the second thing is they won't have any WPQs attached, so the PDF file. So for example, if you were to go and look at, so I created these two people, Fred and John. So if you go into so John's record, so you can see the values created here, but you don't see the file. So for that, we have another feature called bulk file upload. So click on that. And so the files need to be in PDF, and they need to be named as this format. So welder ID separated from the WPQ number with an underscore, and then the revision from here with an underscore. So that's how WeldTrace recognizes the records. So I'll just click on browse and then select. So now they are here. So just select a few files. Right. So there are 4 matches. So you had 2. Let me open up this file here. So there are 2 qualifications for each welder. So you need to enter the welder ID in each of those lines. So then it looks for values in here. So you can have any number of lines for one person. So you have 2 qualifications for John and 2 for Fred. So going in here, so you've got 4 matches because they are named as FAM 1 underscore FAM hyphen 01, which is the WPQ number, and then separated by that with a revision. So any files that are no match or duplicates, they'll be ignored. So you just click on upload files. Okay, so they shouldn't take too long. Okay, 4 of those files are successfully uploaded. And the continuity is given automatically, whether you add one at a time or whether you import. So in this case, you have John's got 2 records that are current, which is green, but he's got 2 processes which are red. So you may wonder why that's happened. So let's have a look at John's records here and the continuity report. I'll open up another tab. I've got one here opened. So John's got 2 qualifications, so 101 and 102. So if you look at 101 is for GMAW, SMAW, for which he is current. Okay, so look at continuity report. GMAW and SMAW, they're both current. And whereas when I added that record, so I had that deliberately with the test date beyond 6 months. So it was done June 12th. So that record should have automatically expired. So looking at that particular record for 102, she's got GTAW, FCAW, and SMAW. So that one didn't expire because he's got more recent record from 101, whereas GTAW and FCAW were not used in the other more recent qualification. So they have expired. So you've got FCAW and GTAW with the red numbers in red says the days elapsed. So it's more than 6 months. So you cannot use John to weld GTW or FCW. So I'll tell you in a minute how to extend these qualifications to make them current. Before that, so through the import, what you cannot do is can't import photos, or there's no bulk file upload for updating photographs. So they instead get an emoji kind of default message image. And then the login access cannot be created through the import, so you can do that through edit. So you can do that this way. And okay, let's go into the welder continuity extension interface here. So you see John's 2 qualifications have expired on the 12th of December. So to bring them in line, I need to enter a date which is within 6 months. So these are manually added records. So you can give in any project or weld number. They don't have to be in WeldTrace. So I'll just give it like, and weld number 1. It welded has to be more recent. I'll copy that and paste it here. Right, so he's current now. And if you were to look at his continuity report, so they're all current. So these were done 15th of February, so 21 days elapsed. Okay. So we've added one welder at a time, and then imported and bulk file uploaded everything. The next step is to create a welder qualification from bring your own WPS. So to create, so we've just added. So to create, click on the welder calls menu, and then go to create WPQ. So here you've got 2 options. So create WPQ from a WPS. So that is for WPS created or written in WeldTrace, and this is bring your own. So do that, bring your own workflow first. So go to ASME IX. So the supported standards or ASME IX, ISO 9606, for which the WPS should be ISO 15614 and AWS D1.1 API 1104. If you select API 1104, there are 4 different types. So you have single, multiple qualifications, repair, in process, and all that. So let's look at ASME. Okay. So when you click on that, you would get the WPS in your account that match the entries. So it's looking for ASME IX that are created with your customary units. So if you have any, if you need to check what they are, you can look at these. Click on the file to view the file as well. So click create. Okay, so it's populated as much as it could. And let's go into select PC. Right. So the WPQ record. So this time I'll give it WPQ 2 and revision 0 and the date second. So the qualification date is from the test date, not the WPQ date. So that's the issue date. So let's see, it's the first. And the qualification type, so any of these required fields are with red asterisk. It's test, and requalification is no. So all the other fields are optional. And join type. So the WPS doesn't have this record, so you have to select this. And the WPS doesn't have, it's got a base metal. Pardon me. It's got some base metal data, but it doesn't have the pipe dimensions. So if you want to change the base metal, you can, but I'll leave it for now and select the pipe from the pipe chart. And so let's say it's 2.5 inch to 160. And so it'll show material 1 and 2. You can change the dimensions for material 2 that is being joined with material 1 if they are dissimilar. So now there are 3 processes in that WPS. So it's got them in 3 tabs. So the first thing I need to do is change or pick a filler metal, because that data is not available in the bring your own WPS. So it's for GTAW, it's got rules check enabled, and it's going to bring the filler metals that are for GTAW only. Okay, so I'm looking for one of these. Let's say that. Okay, so the next step is backing. Let's say backing is without, consumable insert is without, and the filler metal product form. The deposit thickness is 0.1, number of layers, and the test position is 2G. Gas backing, let's say without, and the current polarity. Okay, the next one is process 2, FCAW. Then I have to do exactly the same thing. So this time it's showing me FCAW filler metals. If you don't find any filler metals in here that are FCAW, so you can change the rules check to no, and then it'll show all of them. And if you still don't find anything in our library of about 5,000 filler metals, you can add them, add base metals as well as filler metals to the library. So there's a base metals and filler metals section, and you can get that added. And anything that you add will only appear for your people, the users in your account. So it won't be shown to other companies, and they'll all be listed on the top. Okay, so for FCAW, so you can do all this search or filter by condition. So the condition is contains, and I'm looking for 91 material. Okay, so I've got a 91 T1 list. So the first one is good enough. So the filler metals here. So if you're joining without filler metals, you can just clear that. Okay. Backing is width, and then product form FCAW. It's flux code. So well, deposit thickness, let me say it's 0.1 again. Number of layers deposited, say just 1, and test position, let's say 5G. Radical up. Gas backing without. And transfer mode for FCAW is optional, so you don't have to pick that. So the third process is SMAW, so filler metal again. So you can use that to sort. So let's say it's series, okay, that one. And so backing is width, obviously, same thing. And so the tube, the pipe that was selected has a wall thickness of 0.37i5, and I've used 0.1, 0.1, so that's 0.2. So the balance is 0.75. So that's what it is. So WeldTrace will show warning if the weld deposit thickness is under or over. It's a deposit, the layers 2 and 6G. I'll leave that blank for now. Okay, gas backing without straight polarity. Okay, so one thing is, I should have shown you before. So as you keep changing the position or the thickness of the process, the test methods that are required or optional, they'll get populated. So let's say it's DG. Okay. Because I've already filled in. So these would be blank to start with, and then the rules are validated and the required tests are shown. Let's say performed and acceptable. So 3 face bend, 3 root bend tests. If you're doing a side bend test instead, so you can select that. Let's say for now, these are not tested. If you select not acceptable, then you will have to fail the welder qualification. So it won't let you pass that. So you can upload a test report. So it has to be a PDF file. So let's say that one. Okay, so it's uploaded, and then welder qualification is approved. It's got 2-step workflow. The first one is examination. The second step is approval. So here the recommendation is to approve it. And you can see, look at the range qualified values through the slide out. Throughout, whenever you are doing this, as you fill in the data, it'll populate the range qualified values here. And you can save and preview the PDF file. I'll just go ahead and submit it. So it says there's a warning, so it can't submit. So now it says, vertical progression is mandatory. And now let me try again. Okay, has been submitted. Now it goes into the awaiting approval part of the workflow. You can see what it is and all that. So click on that to view the WTQ. And if, for example, there are 2 different people doing this, and you're logging in as the person who has to approve the welder qualification, and you see any mistakes, you can go into click on this button and go into the edit mode and make the changes and then submit. But then again, you'll have to come back and submit it again, because once you have edited, it goes back into the first part of the workflow. So you say grant welder qualification, say yes, and I'll submit it here. Okay, so it's awarded, and you see the certificate. A PDF file is generated automatically. So there's a designation, and you can see the base metals joined, actual values, and range qualified. So in this case, there are 3 different processes, and you can see the values in 3 different columns. So the report I uploaded is also attached to this file, and you can click on that link, and that's where that file is. Okay, and the stamps and signatures are applied automatically. So there's 2 sets basically, and the stamp and signature. So I logged in as MaxSmart, and So my stamp and signature are appearing on either side, which is fine. Right. So we've created a welder qualification from a bring your own WPS. So now let's do a create WPQ from WPS created in WeldTrace. So we'll do the same. 2021 ASME IX and use units. So there are two WPS that match the filter. So just use this one. So the difference between the bring your own WPS and the WPS created in WeldTrace, you get a few more variables basically. So because the WPS created in WeldTrace is got to use a code compliant template, and you have to fill in certain essential variables, non-essential, and all those records are stored. And so you just pick the welder. These can't be changed obviously because that's the WPS that you're creating records for. If you have different customers, you can pick a customer, and then the certificate will have that logo. I mean, for one is branding. If you're doing this as a business, creating welder qualifications for other companies, then you can use this format. So let's say it's PC WPQ 03 revision 0, and let's say this is more recent. Sunday, Monday. Right. Qualification type is again test. Requalification no. Test date is the 6th. This one is to replicate, meaning so if there are other qualifications and you have done fine tuning like picking filler metals or changing them and awarded a welder qualification, then you can just click on that and replicate. So anything below would be copied from that application. So it'll save you some time in doing data entry. Right. So again, the pipe is up to, even though the pipe dimensions are available in WPS, you may be using a different one, and you can change that. So I would pick the same pipe here. If you were to pick something which is not covered, right, so you get a warning here. So that's not within the range. So please check. So I'll just change the pipe and use the same pipe, 2.5 inch. Okay, so it's copied here, but not copied here. So I'll have to change that. Okay, so once you pick and change, then the other record is not automatically changed. So you just have to be mindful of that. But here, the filler metal is already picked. It was in the WPS, so that's come here. And some other records are also here. And what is not here is, let's say, the weld deposit thickness is not here. And the number of layers deposited, the test position is not in the WPS because it doesn't have to be specified. So any field that is not applicable is hatched out, can't be changed. So go to process 2, and the deposit thickness here is, because this is 2 process, it doesn't have to be, it can be a single process. And you can remove by clicking on this, and you just create a single process WPQ from a WPS. So for now, I'll just leave it. Number of layers deposited, let's say 3 layers, and 5G. Again, these validate as you pick the records, vertical up. Okay, so performed and acceptable. So here I would say I'm going to use RT instead of bench tests. Okay, I'd say not tested, not tested. So I'll put in the RT report. Again, if it is not acceptable, this method, then you won't be able to approve it. You'll get a warning message. Again, so look at the bench qualified values. They're all there. And submit. So it's been submitted for approval. So it says awaiting approval. Same thing again. Submit again. So got this awarded. So PC WPQ 02 and 03 are in here, whereas the first one, which is added, is not here because this is only for welder qualifications created. So let's have a look at Phil's Illustrator records. So you have one that was added, 2 and 3 are created. You can see that there are a couple other buttons here. So one is to edit or delete. So the delete button will be enabled until this particular qualification is used in a project, in a weld. If you have used this, then that would be disabled. And in any case, you can edit, but you can only edit a few things. You can't edit like the processes and all that, but you will be able to edit a few other non-essential variables. So the continuity report will have all the records. So you have the WPS 102, 201, so they're all added here. Right. So if you need to make any revisions, so go back to the other quotes. So if you have to make a revision, so you just click on the revise button, and the revision will be the next revision, the next number. So it'll be a separate WPQ, but you can make some changes. You cannot make a whole lot of changes, but whatever the standard allows, so the essential variables for the welder qualification that's created, and non-essential can be changed, essential cannot be changed. So that's how it is coded for revising welder qualification that is created. The next thing is to append. Let's say you have to get this welder qualification endorsed by a third-party agency. So you can click on this append button, and you can upload a third-party endorsed file, and it'll get attached to it. So let's say it's some attach some PQR. Right. Okay, there's some issue with the file, but you can try again and do that. So when you view the certificate, it'll have the it'll have that appended. Okay, so looking at the certificate itself, whether it's created from a WPS created in WeldTrace or added, bring your own, it'll be in the same format, the certificate. Right. So the continuity records are handled automatically. So emails are sent out every day based on whether welder's qualification is about to expire or not. So if a welder wasn't used in a particular process, you will get an expiry warning email at the end of 5 months. So prior to expiry, you get a warning. And once it expires, then you get an expired email. Right. Okay. So in projects, so once you've got welders added, created, so this only has a sample project. So if you were to add a welder to a project or pick a welder for a particular, sorry, click the wrong button. So if you were to click a welder ID, so because this is a sample project, won't show the welders that are added further. Okay. So it's only welders created in the project here. So now the welders who have qualifications expired, continuity expired, they can't be picked. Okay, so there's a built-in rules check for that way. Right, that pretty much covers how to add welders to WeldTrace, how to add their qualifications, whatever you may have. You bring your own qualifications and manage them, and also create welder qualifications through the code compliant workflow, the templates, and award the certificates, manage their WPQs, append, revise them, and manual continuity extension. Right, so that's pretty much what I have to say. Questions, please.